Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for being here. Today, with the stroke of a pen, we will enroll Kentucky into the biggest educational game changer since the lottery. I'll sign documentation of the IRS opting Kentucky into the Scholarship Granting Organization program. Also, I'll sign the state regulation that puts meat on the bones of Kentucky's program. First, I'd like to briefly note what we are not doing. House Bill 1 and this regulation are good and highly impactful, but also narrow. We are not creating charter schools. We are not creating school vouchers. We are not appropriating or expending Kentucky taxpayer dollars to fund private education. We are not creating state-funded scholarship granting organizations. We are not determining which students receive scholarships. And I am not regulating schools or overseeing educational policy. This regulation implements the filing responsibilities assigned to me, the Secretary of State, by House Bill 1. That legislation, which just became effective, authorizes me to report the Commonwealth of Kentucky to the IRS as a covered state and to identify privately funded scholarship granting organizations in Kentucky by submitting a list annually by January 1st, so that students in Kentucky may receive scholarships from SGOs to defray the cost of their education. This regulation does not create charitable organizations to provide scholarships. Many such organizations already exist and have existed for many years in Kentucky. What House Bill 1 changes is not the existence of these organizations. It changes the federal tax treatment available for certain donations made to these organizations, yet they satisfy the requirements established by Congress and the General Assembly. Likewise, this program is often described as though it relates only to private school tuition. That is false. Qualifying educational expenses may extend well beyond tuition and may include a variety of other educational costs. Depending on a student's circumstances, those expenses may benefit families with children attending private schools, as well as families with children attending public schools. For many Kentucky families, those expenses can include items that too often strain household budgets: books, instructional materials, educational technology, tutoring, academic programs, and other qualifying educational expenses under federal law. For some students, it may need access to educational opportunities that otherwise would not have been financially possible. I'm proud the General Assembly entrusted me with this responsibility. There's nothing wrong with being born fortunate, but most, like me, were not. Upward mobility is the central issue of our time. I want every needy kid to have the same success this needy kid did. That's only possible through educational opportunity. In just a moment after our next two speakers, I will sign the IRS notice opting Kentucky into more funds for our kids' education. And then I will sign the state regulation to establish uniform procedures for submitting, reviewing, and processing these applications so the law can be administered consistently. Thank you again for being here, and I'd like to recognize our first speaker after me, State Representative T.J. Roberts, who co-sponsored this legislation. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Secretary Adams, and thank you to everyone for being here. And I just want to start out by saying, as the primary co-sponsor of House Bill 1, this is about ensuring that families and children win in Kentucky. This is an opportunity that children have long been denied in Kentucky, and as of today, that changes. The reality is that rising tides raise every boat, and that is the fundamental principle of House Bill 1. And when I think about House Bill 1 and the Education Freedom Tax Credit that was established in the One Beautiful Bill Act, I think about my family if one other factor hadn't changed, and that was my zip code. My mother is with me right now, and I did just fine in public schools. My sister did just fine in public schools. But if his zip code was different, and I was in a system that offered a different educational style than what I had the opportunity to. There is no way, without programs like House Bill 1, that we would have been able to afford to give the opportunity that ensured I was able to put myself in the position I am in today, that my sister would be in the position that she is in today. This is for the everyday Kentuckian that can't afford the luxurious private education. The super wealthy can already afford it. This is about ensuring that your average Kentuckian, your Kentuckians who don't have the means, can ensure that their children have equal opportunity as anyone, regardless of what their tax returns show or what their zip codes show. This has been a bipartisan effort from start to finish. These programs have been adopted in blue states. Members of the other side of the aisle in other states have even said that it's stupid not to opt in. So of course the governor would choose not to opt in. But the reality is, this is not about what is best for the state. This is not about what is best for any special interest. This is about what is best for the children of the Commonwealth of Kentucky. And we are going to see that benefit as we see time and time again where choice in education has yielded better outcomes for students across the board, no matter where they come from, no matter where they go for education, no matter where they end up at the end of their graduation. I was very fortunate to work on this legislation with several colleagues, 3 of whom are here today: Senator Don Douglas, Representative Kim King, and Representative James Allen Tipton. I'd like to thank them for their support for House Bill 1. But one that could not be here was the prime sponsor of House Bill 1. That was Representative Kim Mosier. I do have some remarks from her that I want to make clear on from her remarks. And this is from Representative Kim Mosier. When President Trump and Congress had created a new federal education scholarship tax credit through H.R. 1, it gave states a simple choice: participate or leave their families on the sideline. When House Bill 1, Kentucky chose to participate. This is not a new state spending program or diversion of state education dollars. It is an opportunity for Kentuckians to take advantage of a federal tax credit that already exists. If Kentucky had declined to opt in, our taxpayers could still have made qualifying contributions and claimed the federal tax credit. But the scholarships would have benefited students in other participating states instead of families and children here at home. Under the federal program, individuals can receive a dollar-for-dollar federal tax credit for contributions to qualified scholarship granting organizations, also called SGOs. Those nonprofit organizations then award scholarships to eligible K-12 students for approved educational expenses. House Bill 1 simply ensured Kentucky families would have access to that opportunity. This legislation is about expanding educational opportunity. Every child is different. Some thrive in their neighborhood public school, while others need a different learning environment to succeed. Supporting additional educational options does not weaken our commitment to public education. Kentucky will continue investing in strong public schools, as we have with record funding for K-12 public education, because they serve the vast majority of our students and remain the foundation of our education system. But we should also recognize that one size does not fit every child, and parents deserve meaningful options when a different setting is the right fit. I'm grateful to my colleagues in the General Assembly who had the courage to stand up for Kentucky families and children to ensure our Commonwealth could participate in this historic federal program. They stood strong through a lot of misinformation and downright false accusations because they know this program can create opportunity. I also want to thank the Secretary of State for moving quickly to promulgate the necessary regulations so this opportunity could become a reality for Kentucky families. Now the work shifts from Frankfort to our communities. This program will only succeed if Kentuckians step forward. I encourage community leaders, nonprofit organizations, business leaders, philanthropists, and individuals to consider establishing scholarship granting organizations or supporting those that do. Together, we can help open doors for students whose educational needs may be different from their peers and create opportunities that change the course of a child's life. Kentucky has always been its best when neighbors invest in one another. House Bill 1 gives us a new way to do exactly that. Now it's up to all of us to make the most of it. Thank you again. Now let's get to the next step. And I really want to reemphasize the importance of you as members of the community to ensure that this program is a success. The sky's the limit when it comes to House Bill 1. This is a program that is up to us. If your tax liability exists at all, if you're paying federal income taxes, consider where you want that money to go. Do you want that money to go to Washington, D.C., where waste, fraud, and abuse is rife? Or do you want it to go to Kentucky's children? Do you want this to go to ensuring a better future than you have in the present right now? If the answer to that question is yes, that you want Kentucky's students to benefit from the public services that we have offered, whether it's public, private, parochial, or home education, consider designating your federal tax liability to a scholarship granting organization in Kentucky. These organizations exist, they're going to continue to exist, and we are going to see a new revolution for parents and for families in Kentucky through House Bill 1. I want to thank you guys for being here. I'd like to introduce Caleb Brown and Bluegrass Institute. Thank you.
Let me echo what the previous two speakers have said. Thank you all for being here. I'm very excited to be here as well. Yesterday was my son's birthday. He turned 8 years old. I baked him a cake. I made him his favorite meal for dinner, and he felt honored. But of course, we don't really honor our children just through trinkets or just making them food that they like. We honor them by helping them to be competent and confident in the future, in a world, frankly, that will look very, very different from the one that you and I grew up in. And so doing so requires some change with respect to how children get educated. And I think it requires a greater degree of engagement from parents that too many parents simply has not had the opportunity to do. This program will allow those parents to seek out the resources that they need to deepen their engagement in assuring that their children have the kind of education, the kind of moral foundation, and the kind of competence and confidence that we want for every one of our children. I tell my kids a little amortedly in sort of a memento mori thinking that Mama and Papa aren't going to be here forever. I want you and your siblings to be good friends, but most importantly, I want you to be very happy and productive people. And this program, I think, allows parents to sort of make good on that promise to help their kids be more successful in life. And to the extent that parental mindsets are changed by participating in this program, by taking advantage of these scholarships, I see this as a bit of a reset for the struggle, the uncertain struggle for school choice here in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. The more parents are engaged and feel confident themselves to take on the task of designing an education for their children that really meets their family's needs, that meets their children's needs, I think there will be a much greater clamor down the road for these kinds of options in Kentucky. Lower income parents, I think, will be the largest beneficiaries here. These are people who have effectively been shut out of participating meaningfully in designing educations for their children. Families, as I said before, will become more engaged in the process of choosing the kinds of education that their children receive, and they'll get choosier over time. Once they realize that there are choices available, they're going to get choosier. And Kentuckians, I think, more broadly, will be able to see that there is nothing to fear. There's nothing to be concerned about by trusting parents to do what is best for their own children. So I'm very excited about this program. I want to thank the members of the House and Senate for putting in the work on this. Thank the Secretary of State for drafting the relevant regulations, which I know is difficult work when you have the state and the feds having to interact. And I want to thank everybody in the Commonwealth of Kentucky who understand that parents are the people that we trust to make these kinds of decisions. And being able to participate in a program like this is going to be a true godsend for thousands of families. So thank you all very much.
It's official. I don't usually love communicating with the IRS. This time I'll make an exception. So that's the IRS paperwork that we will immediately submit and get Kentucky on the record. And now I'm going to sign the state regulation to make this possible here in state government. All set. All right. Thanks, everybody. Any questions?
Have any public school districts indicated they would like to start an SGO at this point?
So my office has not gotten any sort of notice yet, and that's because they've been waiting for the law to take effect and waiting for us to do what we're doing today. Candidly, I can't estimate. The other speakers may have an idea. The deadline by law is November 30th for us to receive applications. That then gives us a month to review them and certify that they meet the criteria required by House Bill 1. And then once that's accomplished, by January 1st, I better communicate that to the federal government. So our deadline is November 30. They may come in today. They may come in then. It could be hundreds. It could be thousands. I have no idea yet what to expect.
I'll just add, I have been contacted by superintendents and administrators in public school districts throughout the state, and they have expressed interest in establishing scholarship granting organizations. And that's largely because they know that this is going to benefit students across the Commonwealth. They know it's going to benefit their own students as well. There are funding gaps that do exist, whether that's because of the school board, whether that's because of the tax base in those areas. What they know is that simply if you put more money into the system, it frees up their budget to ensure that they have more resources to do what is right for the students. And I've seen that in rural, urban, suburban areas of the Commonwealth. And I look forward to seeing what this does, whether it be for public schools, private schools, or any school system in this Commonwealth, because they're all eligible under this program.
How do we answer federal taxpayers if they ask, how does my tax preparer know about this, or how do I participate?
So
Your tax preparer knows? I didn't.
I don't want to offer any tax advice, but my understanding is that the IRS, when they release the 1040s for the 2027 tax year, I believe there will be a specific blank on there to make it super easy. It's a lot like what we do here in Kentucky. We've got all those credits right at the end of our 740.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? Yeah.
You mentioned the November deadline. Some SGOs are already prepared to get their paperwork in, so which gives them a jump start to work with superintendents and things of that nature. If their paperwork is in, do you anticipate those SGOs being recognized before November 30th?
It's possible that we will informally communicate that they've met the criteria and that we're satisfied and we put them on the list. I'm not going to send multiple lists to the IRS, put it super clean and easy and send them in one at the end of the year. But we certainly have no issue communicating that folks are in compliance and will be on the list. Yeah.
I want to make a note to the media here. This is Mo Lundrigan of Ed Choice, Kentucky, and he may know more about this than a lot of us in terms of the mechanics of running an SGO or setting up an SGO. So I'll refer you to him for some of those questions.
Are any of you going down the street to the governor's press conference? If you are, I'll wrap us up so you can make it over there. No? Okay, we're competing today. That's all right. Okay, any of us want to take credit for?
Not this one.
All right, thanks everybody. Thanks for being here.